pull it up. But on the cool down that I gave you back, again, things I took off points for were labels. I've stressed it and stressed it and stressed it and stressed it. You have to have labels anytime you have any sort of diagram. From there, most of you had your number lines correct. You have to put numbers on your number lines. And then the answer to number on lesson 6, the not cat side, is 8. Number 2 is 8 tablespoons. Number 3 is 15 tablespoons, and or 15 cups. You could have gotten that from your top diagram. On the back, okay, it said a double number line, not a triple number line. You could have picked any 2 things from the diagram above. You could have done ears and cats. You could have done ears and paws. You could have done ears and tails. You could have done tails and paws. You could have done tails and cats, paws and cats. Okay? There's lots of different things you could have done. Now, number 2, if you have okay, when it comes test time, that will not be correct. Okay, so look at your answer for number 2 on the lesson 7 side. If you have okay on the test, it will not be correct. Okay, so let's talk about why. And you're going to write down several that would work for this. So it says, write a sentence that describes this situation that uses the word per. So let's talk about some ratios that you hear the word per. Like 76 miles, where am I going with this? Per hour. 5 minutes per mile. 78 words per minute. What do all of those mean?
Oh, like 78 words, that's how many you could fit in 1 minute.
Okay, 78 words in 1 minute, whether it's reading them or typing them. 5 minutes per mile. That means how many minutes does it take you to run 1 mile? 76 miles per hour means you drive 76 miles in 1 hour. So the word per usually comes before what number that's not actually there? 1. Okay, usually the word per is used if it's per 1 something. Now let's look back at this example. Who thinks they have one where I can write per and the label behind it it's a 1 and we don't even have to draw it in? So what could I do per 1? Hallie? 2 paws per what? Okay, so she said there are 2 paws per ear. And let's just think about a cat. Every cat has, well, not every, most cats have 2 ears and 4 paws. If we did paws to ears, and reduced it, would we get 2 to 1? Okay, who can give me something else?
Oh, tail. Oh, 4 paws per 1 tail.
So we would just say, so guys, I want you to write this. 4 paws per tail. We don't say per 1, we just say per tail, and it's understood that there's a 1 there. Who can give me another one, Leo?
4 paws per every.
Nope, not per every. We don't say per every.
4 paws per what? Can you do 4 paws per?
It's per and then a label. So per cat, yes, you said per every cat. Okay, so could we do 2 ears per cat?
Yeah.
Could we say 1 tail per cat?
Yeah.
2 eyes per cat?
Yes.
Yeah, if that was one of the things. Okay, so the word per comes before what number?
1.
1. And do we have to put that number?
No.
No. And that's actually what all of lesson 8 is about. That's why I gave it to you, but if I put okay, that means if it's test time, you wouldn't get that one correct. Because per means per 1. Okay? Okay, pull out the notes page. We're going to jump right into lesson 8. Lesson 8 is called unit price. It's getting us into unit rates. Unit rates and unit price. So it's the same notes for lessons 8 and 9. A rate is just a comparison of two quantities. A comparison of two quantities is a rate. So I go 76 miles in 2 hours. That's a rate. It's comparing how many miles I go to how many hours I am going. What is a quantity? I think Tatum asked that the other day. Was it you, Tatum? Somebody asked that the other day. What is a quantity, Owen? It's not a group necessarily. Ellie? Yeah, it's an amount of something, okay? So this is comparing two different amounts. So two amounts of two different labels. Hours in, or miles in hours. How much money per sodas. A unit rate is a rate, or a comparison of two quantities, a rate per 1, or with a denominator of 1. Unit rate, if we're talking price, is much more beneficial. So when you go to Casey's and you're like, hey, how much is a soda? If they said 6 sodas are $2.99, they're giving you a rate. Why is that not helpful in that situation, Leo? You want to know the unit rate. How much for just 1 soda? Okay, so a rate is giving you 2 quantities. So $2.99 for 6 sodas is a rate. Could you do some math to figure out the unit rate or the price for 1?
Yes.
Yes. But at the store, they usually just give you the unit rate. They give you the price for 1 soda or for 1 pack of Starbursts. Because typically, you're buying 1 of everything. If you buy multiple, what would you have to do? Add it or multiply it up. Make an equivalent ratio is technically what you're doing. Unit price is the unit rate that gives the price for 1 of, I'm going to put the product. What do I mean by 1 of the product? Yeah, 1 of whatever you're buying. The price for 1 soda, 1 Starburst, 1 roll of toilet paper, 1 book. Next to unit price, we're going to write dollars over product. And then kind of circle that. Anytime we're talking about unit price, you always do price over product. Okay? And it's because if we do it backwards, If they did it backwards at the store, they'd say, oh, you'd get 2/3 of a soda for $1. Do you want to know how much you get for $1 or what is the price for one whole product? You want the price for one whole product. So anytime we're doing unit price, you always do price over product. The price is always your numerator. The denominator is always your product. You're still creating equivalent ratios. Okay, it's still equivalent ratios. It's just your denominator, we're getting it to a 1. Okay, we're getting the denominator to a 1. So, how to find the unit rate? How to find the unit rate? You set up the rate given. It'll have to give us information. And find an equivalent ratio with a denominator, and I'm going to abbreviate, of 1. For how to find unit price, I'm going to put same. Draw an arrow, but remember it's price over product. Now, to determine, because in other rates, anytime there's prices involved, we always put price on top, the product on bottom. Any other one, they could be either way. You just have to pay attention to the question. If it wants miles per hour, that's miles over hours. If it wants hours per mile, you put hours on top, miles on bottom. Okay? So there's different ones that will work. You just have to pay attention to the question. The only one that's always the same, Jake, is price. Unit price is always price over product. Anytime you have a price or a dollar sign involved in your ratio, it always goes on top. Okay, let's look over at the examples. Anna downloaded 35 songs in 5 minutes. How many songs did she download per minute? So, few things we're going to add here. The question says songs per minute. So our rate, I want you to write this, our rate is going to be songs over minutes. The rate that it gives us is what to what? How many songs did it give us? Jake?
35.
35. In how many minutes, Jake? 5. We have to get our denominator to be a 1. How do I turn a 5 into a 1 using multiplication or division, Emmy? Divide by 5. So I'm going to show divide by 5. If I divide the bottom by 5, I have to divide the top by 5. What is 35 divided by 5? 7. Your unit rate answers will have 2 labels. They will all have the word per. Who can give me that using the word per? Tatum? You can just give me something per something.
7 songs per.
Good job. 7 songs per minute. Notice I don't have to say per 1 minute. The word per kind of tells us it's per 1. Yes, because if it says unit rate, if we're figuring out how, and it doesn't say that, it's asking per minute, so it's asking for 1 minute. So she downloads 7 songs per minute. So this one is the rate. What do we call this one right here? The 7 over 1. If it's over 1. That's a unit rate. I want you to label, we're going to label these in our notes. Okay, so there's a rate is 35 to 5. Our unit rate is 7 to 1. Okay, the second example. Store A sells 4 potted plants for $88. Store B sells 6 potted plants for $120. Which company has a higher unit price? And explain your answer. This is a comparison problem. To compare two things, what do you need? You need them apples to apples, okay? How can we easily get these apples to apples? Or what could we find? If it's asking about unit price, what is it asking for? Leo? Yeah, it's asking how much for one at store A and store B. So we're going to start with store A. Anytime price is involved, where does it go in my rate? Top. So store A, it's $88 for how many plants? So for 4. So for 4 plants, I'll just put it right here. For store B, how much is it? $120 for how many plants? If I need it per plant, that means I'm going to get it over 1. Jake, how do I get from 4 to 1? So divide by 4. Divide by 4. On tonight's homework, you can use calculators because I'm not testing your division, I'm testing your unit rate and to see if you know how to do it, but you must show the work. Okay, so 88 divided by 4, what is it? 22. What does that unit rate mean? 22 over 1, what does that mean, Leo? Price over product.
Yeah, so $22 per plant.
$22 per plant. Okay, 120. How do I get from 6 to 1? Divide by 6. What's 120 divided by 6? What does that mean? $20 per plant. Now our explanation would be very easy. Explain. Which one did it ask for? Higher unit price. A has a higher unit price because one plant cost $22 and at store B it's only $20. Okay, so once you have your unit price, unit rate, it's easy to compare.
But they only sell them in sales.
Not necessarily. It just sells, you can get 6 for $120. Okay, let's do the last one. Example 6. I call this break it down to build it up. Anytime it asks you for an odd number, well here, let's just start. Example 6, 6 movie tickets cost $72. At this rate, what is the cost of 4 and 11 tickets? If we were to set this up before, we would have $72 over 6 tickets. We would try and get to, like on our number line, if they told us 4. Why would it be hard to get to 4?
Because you don't start with 4. You have to divide it out first and then add those.
Wouldn't you go down to 1?
So if we were putting this on a double number line, our first set we would have put 72 and 6. But then, yeah, now it's asking for 4. Even if we split it in half, which is about all we did before, where would that take us to? 3, and we have to get to 4. So anytime you have one that you can't easily build it up to, break it all the way down to the unit price or unit rate and then build it back up. So up here, we're going to find how much for 1 ticket. I always say break it down and then build it back up. If you can't get there in one step, try and break it down and then build it back up. Break it down to 1. Dawson, how do I get from 6 to 1?
Divide by 6.
Divide by 6. So I'd have to divide the top by 6. 72 divided by 6? 12. So now we have a unit rate. We're still going to use ratios. I'm forcing you to use ratios. If I know that it's $12 for 1 ticket, where am I trying to get to? 4 tickets. So I'm going to write 4 tickets. See how I'm setting these up now? I'm going to box this in so we know this is the number we're looking for. How do I get from 1 to 4?
4.
Times 4. What's 12 times 4? 48. So then somewhere it's $48 for 4 tickets. Let me get my eraser out. How do I do 11? Or how can I do 11? Owen?
Do this, like, same thing you did for 4, just multiply by 11.
Yeah, so we're going to start with 12 to 1 because it's, woo. Okay, it's $12 for 1 ticket. Still big. $12 for 1 ticket. And how many tickets am I trying to get to? 11 tickets. How do I get from 1 to 11? 132. So it's $132 for 11 tickets. Now, I am going to be super picky about your work. Notice, on that last one, did I just write out 12 times 11? No, all of your work, I want to see your ratios. I want to, those are ratios, or equivalent fractions, equivalent ratios. I want to see that because these problems are going to get a lot harder, okay? So you have to know how to set it up. Open your book to page, I don't know, lesson 8. Meyer, let me see yours. Open it to page 62. Page 62. 62. Go get it real fast. Okay, this whole lesson is called How Much for 1. So do you think we're talking about unit rates or unit price? How much is price? So this is all about unit price. Go to page 62.
62. It has avocados.
Does it? Okay, look up at the top of page 62. It says, am I on the page 82? Nope, I need to go back. Okay, right here. 8 avocados cost $4. First, if a price is involved, where do we put it in our rate? On top, on top. So we're going to set this up as a rate that it gives us. So it tells us $4 for 8 avocados. Where are we trying to get to? What does it tell us? What's this? 16. I'm going to set up 16 avocados. Can I get there without breaking it down first?
Yes.
Yes. Did this one ask me for a unit rate? No, it just said if it's this much for 8, how much for 16? Can we solve it the same way? Yes. How do I get from 8 to 16? Times 2. So what is 4 times 2? 8. So our answer is $8. You do not give me a ratio as an answer. You always rewrite the one we were missing. Now for B. I'm going to pull it down. You guys have a little more room than I do. We always start with our rate, 4 and 8. We're trying to get to 20 avocados. If we were trying to get to $20, we could get there very quickly. Can I easily get 8 to 20? No. So what I do when I do this, I show that I'm going to have to go somewhere else first. And I set it up like that because we're creating equivalent ratios to get us to our answer. If we can't go straight from 8 to 20, what can I always go down to, Leo? What? 1. So if I want 1 avocado, I can fill that in. How can I figure out the price for just 1 avocado, Ellie? Okay, to get from 8 to 1, I can divide by 8. So I have to divide the top by 8. And again, you can use a calculator, but we should be able to do this one. 4 divided by 8. Ellie, in money. 50 cents. So we write it as a decimal. You can. It'd be half, but you have to know it's money. So I'm going to put 0.5 or 0.50. Now, how do I get from 1 to 20? Leo? Times 20. If I multiplied by 20 on bottom, I have to. If each one's 50 cents and you bite 20, how much are they? $10. Okay, and again, we don't leave it in there out to the side. We would write it would cost $10. Once you have the unit rate, they could ask you 20 different questions and you would be able to get there. Once you have the price for 1. How much do 9 avocados cost? Why would we not want to start back at the beginning?
Because we already have the unit.
Yeah, and can you get 8 to 9 very easily? No. But we can start with this one. 50 cents for 1 avocado. Then we can easily get to 9 avocados. How do I get from 1 to 9? Times 9. And let's do mental math real quick. What's 9 times 5?
45.
45, add a 0.
$4.50.
Yeah, 2 decimal places, so 450. So then out to the side we would write $4.50. Tomorrow, you must have rates. And this one didn't do it, but they could have asked, if I have $24, how many avocados can I buy? We would still start with, I'll do that one up here, 4 over 8 avocados. If I have $20, how many avocados can I buy? You can still set up rate problems like that. They could give us either of the two, and we should be able to build up to it.
But if you know, like if you know how much one is, then couldn't you get to any?
Yes, but this isn't per dollar. That's 50 cents.
Yeah, but then you could get to any answer.
Yes, yeah. But from here, it'd be, we just do times 5 times 5.
What if
So
it
we could,
doesn't go into that number?
break it down to 1.
No, like the dollar.
Break it down to dollars.
You could still break it down to how many dollars per avocado.
Oh, it would still.
Or, sorry, how many avocados per dollar. It just wouldn't necessarily be a whole number. Okay, and again, we're going to spend a couple days on this. You'll probably have some questions as you're working. But tomorrow, what should your work look like? That. So your homework is Lesson 8 practice problems 1 through 5. Look at page 66. On number 1 and 2, what do they have drawn? Double number lines. We could easily add the unit price above it. On 1 and 2, use the double number lines because they give them to us. Okay? On 3, 4, and 5, do they draw out double number lines for us? No, so do not draw one. Okay? On 1 and 2, use them because they gave them to us. Okay, it's just your unit price or unit amount will be the line to the left of what's given. After that, you do not draw a double number line unless they give you one. Does that make sense? Okay.